stream of that court appearance. That one would be pretty wild. Maybe some video comes out later.
But according to the lease that I have, Kreitz is claiming that the stove and refrigerator belong to him, and they do not belong to him. They were purchased through Rent-A-Center.
All right. I don't have an answer for that right now because not before the court. Hold on to your receipts. If you purchased them, now he may say, well, there was one in there when you moved in. I don't know what you did with it. But if you purchased those at Rent-A-Center, take them with you.
Show us the paperwork, please.
There may be an issue regarding damages, but this is simply a possession judgment. After you move out, Mr. Kreitz may request a hearing to request back rent, other damage. That would be a separate, completely separate hearing. But this is just about possession. But if you have the paperwork that says you bought those at Rent-A-Center, take them. There may be an issue regarding where the ones that were there are. And
There
we'll
was
get the money.
none in there. There was none there.
All right, well, that's something you'll be able to support.
And Kreitz was not the original landlord when we first moved in there.
I can't figure this out.
Do you have any other questions?
I do not.
All right, you're free.
Is the defendant walking through the woods?
Show this judgment by default, well, by hearing or by consent?
By hearing. By
Okay.
hearing.
Thank you. We'll send it over.
All right.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yep. Thank you, John. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. It's been a tough day today for tenants. Well, Mr. Kreitz. All right, next is Carriage or Commercial Equity Group. This is Tower Motel versus versus Todd Werner and Sherry Radke, who are present. We were here on October 29th, and Tiffany Edwards was here on behalf of the defendants. There was indication that the manager were feuding with other tenants. The defendants indicated they were looking to move somewhere. Ms. Edwards has filed an answer. And
yes, that was exactly my thought.
Screen captures of some texts or emails, and indicating they were having trouble with a neighboring tenant, and then basically the landlord just told them to suck it up.
Thank you, Chris.
So I'm not sure what we've got here. Let me start with you.
I fear the wrath,
Gibson.
but don't worry. I've got the fez. That should provide me some defense.
Your Honor, I have witnesses here today that could contradict the allegations. I could give a summary of what I believe our evidence would present to the court.
Oh, please don't, Paul.
You know, my clients are totally denying that the statute that was referred to in the responding pleading would apply in this situation based upon the facts. So I don't know exactly. I guess, do you need me? What do you want me to address specifically?
Well, what we're probably going to address is when we're going to set this for hearing with taking testimony. Ms. Edwards, what's your position here?
I think it's simply that this is not an expiration of a lease problem. This is a retaliatory eviction. My clients have submitted multiple complaints regarding activity of another tenant, Edward Black, at the premises. Those complaints were not cured. And then in response, my clients indicated to the property manager that the police will need to be called due to the harassing, threatening, assaultive, and otherwise aggressive behavior of that other tenant, Mr. Black. When my clients did indeed seek to enforce their rights under law and seek to engage in the lawful terms of the tenancy, by calling the police, plaintiffs have filed this complaint indicating that the act of calling the police when under threat caused the disruptive nature of the violation that they're alleging in their complaint. The act of calling the police.
What is this, a
not
hotel?
Sufficient to, under law, under MCL 600.57201 A and C, not sufficient to proceed with the eviction unless they can prove by preponderance of the evidence that the eviction is not, in fact, retaliatory in nature.
Mr. Gibson, what is the rent in this case? There's a lease in here. I guess I could look it up.
There's some provision that makes you prove that it's not retaliatory. That seems odd to me. I don't know. I mean, this is specific Michigan law, but that's onerous on the landlord. It really is, if it exists.
Is that okay? I see the one for the kid. That was 106.
I mean, if
Do you happen to have the weekly rent amount in front of you?
180.
if you need to call the police, why don't you leave? That
They're
doesn't
paying
sound like a place you want to
170 a
live.
week Is what they were paying until we.
Okay, 170
Yeah.
a week. When is the last time they made a payment then?
I instructed the manager to stop taking payment on September the 10th. So they haven't paid anything since then.
Okay.
They don't want to accept payment because they want to
All right.
fulfill the statutory obligations and
Mr.
get them out.
Warner, let's assume you prevail in this action. You may still owe your rent since September 10th. It's a lot of money. So what you should have been doing is setting that rent aside to pay. What you probably did is paid the light bill and put gas in your car and went to Pizza Hut and that sort of thing. I don't know. Anyway, we have to have a hearing on this, and I'm gonna do an escrow order ordering you pay the rent to the court. And the problem is trying to figure out where to put this. The defendant claims that this is a retaliatory eviction, that you are being evicted because you're trying to stand up for your rights regarding another tenant. Now, when we were here last time, you told me you were looking for a place to move to. Have you found a place to move to?
Not yet, Your Honor. There was a lake house that we were told we were gonna have, but they came back and told us that we weren't allowed. And we believe because it was the referral they got from Tower Motel.
I mean, this is a sad situation, but it's going to end with him having to leave.
170 a week is $736 a month, which is in the range of a number of rental homes here in St. Joe County. The problem we've got is trying to figure out where to put this. A contested landlord tenant hearing could essentially take half a day. And I don't have many half a days. Judge Patterson's gone the whole month of November, much of it. He enjoys that time off. And then we've got the holidays.
Judge is struggling here. He's trying to get them to do the right thing because there's not much they can do. This retaliatory.
Your Honor, I do have witnesses that could testify today to refute the allegations, but I don't know if the court would have time for testimony today.
I have 17 minutes until 5 small claims cases start.
That's a no.
Michelle, have you plugged in any cases for Friday afternoon, December 10th? Those are one of those dates I gave you. But I'd like to use that time for a hearing. It's a long time from now. In the meantime, you're gonna pay your rent each month to the court, or each week. And if you don't pay your rent, you don't get to make your complaint. You have to move. But I'm gonna hold on to the rent. See who's right or who's wrong, whether your rent should be reduced or abated, or should be paid in full. You're living there and there's been no rent paid since September. Which is the way it works. Once they file the action to terminate your tenancy, they're not supposed to continue to collect the rent.
Oh, this ends with the termination
Well,
of tenancy.
I haven't heard anything
No
more
doubt about it.
December 10th. It's a long way from now. It's a month. But I don't have a half a day spot between now and then to put it. And I'm really hoping I didn't get a bunch of stuff already put in there that isn't on the calendar. Paul, let me make sure that date works for you. Does December 10th in the afternoon work for you?
Yes, it does.
Ms. Edwards, does it work for you?
Yes, it does, but I have a prior engagement beginning at 3:30.
Did you have it for December 10th?
Yes.
That's what you have scheduled right now.
Yeah, that's all I saw, but I've given her some blocks to use for landlord tenant, but we apparently won't be using that one. All right. I'm not sure that 2 hours is gonna be enough to do this. But that's all I got.
Ordering them to pay rent to the court is gonna fix this. They'll find another place, and the judge knows it.
Police witnesses and a bunch of stuff. I'm not even sure 4 hours was long enough.
Well, this is kind of fun doing the live stream,
All right, I'm gonna start in the morning.
but you do not know what the call is going to give you.
Now-
That's sort of the excitement of it.
Set for December 10th at 1 p.m. Each of you has counsel and they'll know how to subpoena witnesses. My fear is we won't be able to accomplish this in the time we've got allotted. But we'll do as much as we can. I'm going to enter an escrow order.
Thank you, Doc.
Tenant to pay rent to the court.
The boys always like treats.
$170 per week.
They don't deserve them,
To the
but they get them
court.
constantly.
Effective this Friday's rent, starting November 12th. If you don't pay the rent, you automatically lose.
It's a fair question, Taco.
They get what they ask for on December 10th. It'll be a real short hearing.
She does add something to the calls.
But you're alleging a retaliatory eviction. Your counsel has supplied some documentation to support that. If you do move out, we don't need to have a hearing. You can work that out with your lawyer and he'll work it out with their lawyer.
Yeah, that's the play here.
But absent that, we're gonna take testimony under oath on Friday, December 10th at 1 p.m. We'll go as far as we can. We recently had one of these termination of tenancy hearings. We had a trial that's had about 120,000 views on YouTube. I'm not sure why that is, but people are interested in.
He loves being on YouTube.
this
He really
kind of
does.
thing, I guess. The other thing this would do, it would put an eviction on your credit record, which might make it difficult for you to get your next rental. But
No secret squirrel. Can you hear me better now? I made some
if you
adjustments.
move before that time, the matter could be dismissed. If you don't, we'll have a hearing on December 10th. Starting this Friday, you're to pay $170 per week.
Thank you
to
some old dude.
report, either by certified check or money order or green cash. And then I'll hold on to it till I see who prevails in the action. Does anyone have any questions?
I do, Your Honor.
Yes.
Regarding the rental escrow order, you mentioned that it would be effective as of November 12th. Did that also include the rent owed between September?
Have
10th
ill-fed
and
freedom.
November 12th?
No, just going forward, 170 per week, starting this week.
Thank you.
That takes the free ride scenario out of it. The judge will just take the money and,
That's a
and
very
apply
good
it towards
question.
them moving to the next place. If I had to guess.
If, Your Honor, if another question would be, if, would that money though eventually have to be accounted for if the tenants were ordered to not?
Potentially, yes, but I'm not ordering back escrow, just going forward because it's gonna take me a month to have this hearing.
Thank you, James
But
Blonde
yeah, If
007.
they're evicted and you have a damage hearing, they would be liable theoretically, unless there's an abatement because their tenancy was so miserable by the co-tenant that the plaintiff neglected to deal with. That's their defense. But potentially, yes, they could owe every dollar of rent between September and now. But the escrow order starts effective this week, November 12th, 170 per week. All right, that completes our landlord tenant docket. Thank you all for your patience. Our small claims docket starts in 9 minutes. We got those people stacked up here right now. All right, we'll have a hearing here and find out what the evidence tells us. All right, you're all free to go. Amy, you did one case, Mitch Edgiston today, so that was good enough to win your participation medal for today. I'll see you Monday. We got a new batch of cases to deal with at that time. All right, I'm gonna remove you all one by one here.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to hang out for a little bit just to see if we get a wacky story.
Okay.